Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Returning now to the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, when the 10 sons of Ya'qub executed their evil plot, they returned to their father with Yusuf's shirt stained with blood. They ended up telling their father that the thing which he feared is exactly what happened. He feared a wolf harming Yusuf, and that is precisely what happened. Furthermore, to keep their ego intact, they argued that the incident happened because they went racing. In other words, just as they initially claimed, no wolf could harm Yusuf in the presence of 10 strong men. So if they now state that a wolf attacked Yusuf while they were there, that makes them look weak. So to maintain their ego and pride, they argued that they were not present at that time. They went racing, and in their absence, Yusuf alayhi salam was attacked. Now surprisingly, they also tell their father that they know he won't believe them, which is why they brought Yusuf's shirt. But how did they know this? Ya'qub alayhi salam never told his 10 sons that he doesn't trust them or that he fears they will harm Yusuf. So why did the 10 sons automatically assume that the father won't believe them? A person speaking the truth will always have complete confidence in his words because he truly believes that he is right. His body language, words, gestures, energy will make it clear that he is being honest. A person who lies will always have doubt because he will be terrified of being caught. So to try and make his lie appear believable, he will cover it up with more lies. And in the end, his story will never add up. There will be clear contradictions between his words and his actions. So in this case, the 10 boys brought back a shirt with bloodstains. How was it not ripped into pieces if a wolf devoured Yusuf? Instead of worrying about the father not believing them, shouldn't they be in shock at the loss of their brother due to their negligence? How did they even think of bringing back Yusuf's shirt if they were devastated at their brother's dead body? So for all these reasons, Ya'qub knew his sons were lying, and so he blamed the boys for their evil act. He knew that this loss was destined to happen. He knew that everything that happens with the will of Allah. But just because this was destined to happen does not absolve the evildoers of their crime. Now this is very important to understand. Many of us get confused with the concept of qadar or predestination. We think that if someone harms us, then it was destined to happen by the will of God, so that person is not to blame because God wanted this to happen. But then in that case, no evildoer should ever be punished. This isn't true. There is a difference between Allah allowing something to happen and Allah wanting something to happen. Allah wants to help us when we are grieving. Allah wants to give us rizq when we ask Allah for it. Allah wants to guide us when we are seeking the truth. Everything that comes from Allah is khair. But when someone wants to do evil, then Allah allows it. He doesn't want it. He doesn't encourage evil. He allows it. Through that evil act, someone will have to show sabr and be rewarded for it. Someone will feel guilt and will have to decide if they wish to do tawbah or not. And someone will just observe or hear about the incident and will have to decide if they wish to learn something from this or not. So Ya'qub alayhi salam makes it clear that although he will do sabr and he will continuously ask Allah for help, his sons are to blame because they chose to execute an evil plan knowing full well that it was wrong. Now Yusuf alayhi salam is then found in the well by some travelers who take him out and sell him for a cheap price to an Aziz who is residing in Egypt. The Aziz and his wife buy him with the intention that he might bring them some benefit or he might be adopted as a son. Allah then explains this is how Yusuf was established in the land so that he could be taught the interpretation of events. But of course at this point we could ask, what does Allah mean? How can something like this help Yusuf alayhi salam interpret events? Allah in all His infinite wisdom knew that eventually Yusuf would confront his brothers, bring his family to Egypt, raise the status of Bani Israel in the country, and he would spread the knowledge of Islam. But of course he cannot do all of that if he is bought by a commoner. He has to be bought and raised by a minister so that he can learn about the economy. Having come from Palestine and living in a desert, he knew how to survive. He had good morals. He had a good understanding of Allah, but he did not know how to run or manage an economy. So how could he ever be appointed as a treasurer in the future? Besides, it was important to be raised in a prestigious, popular, famous family because this places Yusuf in the spotlight. People will testify to his honesty and good character, which will make it easy for them to believe in his message when he does become a prophet. In fact, in the same way, there was wisdom behind Musa alayhi being raised by the Pharaoh. He could have been raised by anyone, by some commoner, but it had to be a very powerful man because this not only softened the Pharaoh's heart for Musa when he returned later on as a prophet, but it also gave Musa easy access to the Pharaoh's palace where he could frequently enter to challenge the Pharaoh and deliver God's message. And then again, just like Yusuf alayhi, by being raised in the spotlight, everyone will be a witness to Musa's honesty and good character. And this will increase the chance that people will testify in their hearts that he has to be a prophet. So there's a very important lesson to learn in all of this. Although Allah has the power to accomplish anything, He does not work randomly or haphazardly. For example, Allah could have made Yusuf the treasurer even if he was not raised by a minister. But because we are intellectual creatures and we love to reflect and we love to ask questions, Allah doesn't work in a haphazard manner. He coordinates and plans everything so that when we do reflect, we are forced to believe in Him. We are forced to see Allah's amazing plan unfold. Yusuf alayhi could have been sent to any land, but he ended up in Egypt, where centuries later, the Pharaoh will arise, necessitating the arrival of Musa alayhi. Yusuf alayhi could have been brought up by anyone, but it had to be an influential minister. Yusuf alayhi could have come out of jail at any time, but it had to be just when the king had a dream and needed an interpreter. Yusuf alayhi could have been reunited with his brothers at any moment, but it had to be when he was at the highest position in Egypt, while his 10 brothers were at the lowest. So no matter how difficult your life might be, it's not chaotic. It's not haphazard. There is a plan, and it is that plan you need to trust. And the more you reflect on your past, the more you'll be able to connect the dots and see Allah's plan. And when you are able to do that, when you are able to connect the dots, that is what is going to give you tawakkul. That is what is going to give you that boost of confidence that things don't happen by chance. Nothing is a coincidence. Everything is planned. There is khair in everything that comes from Allah. So if Allah could help you in all those years in the past, there is definitely help coming in the future as well. Assalamu alaikum.